I want to now transition to Kedon Slovis, the starting quarterback for the USC Trojans. And Kedon Slovis, if you don't know who he is, he's a starting quarterback, obviously, for the University of Southern California, a.k.a. USC. And he's currently a true sophomore, and he's only 19 years old. But despite being only 19 years old, and despite being only a true sophomore, I believe in Kedon Slovis. I really do. I think Kedon Slovis has a lot of potential to become a franchise quarterback one day. And I know that some people are going to write Kedon Slovis off by saying he's a USC quarterback. USC quarterbacks never work. When in reality, Carson Palmer actually had a pretty good career. And here's the thing, people. I don't really care about what school a prospect goes to. I just evaluate the prospect. You know, if you want to go ahead and say USC quarterbacks are trash or Alabama quarterbacks are trash, that's fine. Go ahead, do you. I'm not going to do that, okay? And listen, for what it's worth, in my opinion, Kedon Slovis, and actually not even my opinion, anyone that actually watched these guys closely at USC, I don't think it's up for debate. Kedon Slovis already is a better prospect than what Sam Darnold was when he was at USC. Sam Darnold was one of the most overrated prospects of all time, in my opinion. He's not been a great quarterback in the NFL. I understand that he's not been put in a great position to succeed, but I didn't believe in Sam Darnold, and so far, he hasn't done much in the NFL. I think that one day he could become an okay starting quarterback, but that's just my opinion, you know. But let's just focus in on Kedon Slovis. I'm actually going to say something that might surprise all of you. When I watch Kedon Slovis play the quarterback position, he reminds me of Joe Burrow. He really does. Now, am I saying he's going to be better than Joe Burrow? Am I saying that he was on Joe Burrow's level as a prospect? No. Joe Burrow, in my opinion, had the greatest college football season of all time for a quarterback this past year. He was that good. He was that deadly at LSU. He won a national title. He won the Heisman. Kedon Slovis, not quite playing at that level. But Kedon Slovis has a very similar skill set to one Joe Burrow. And if you've been watching Joe Burrow in the NFL, you know that Joe Burrow is a pretty good quarterback. He's definitely a quarterback that you can win a Super Bowl with down the road if you put the requisite parts around him, at least in my opinion, okay? But listen, man, Kedon Slovis, what makes him so good is he's a great decision maker. And he goes through his first, second, and third reads very, very well. And that's very rare to see from a true sophomore that's only 19 years old. This guy is mature upon his years, okay? And that was Joe Burrow's greatest strength, in my opinion, at LSU. His ability to make great decisions and to scan the field and just dot people up, okay? He was a surgeon at LSU, and that's kind of why I see from Kedon Slovis. Also, the guy is very, very accurate. He's hitting his wide receivers in stride. His ball placement is very, very good on all three levels of the field. And listen, Kedon Slovis doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but his arm strength is definitely good enough to make it in the NFL. He's definitely got a good enough NFL arm to make all the requisite throws. He's got enough arm strength in that regard. And listen, Joe Burrow didn't have the greatest arm when he was coming out of LSU. He's working fine in the NFL. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, the two all-time leaders in touchdown passes in NFL history as we speak today. Were their arms ever the greatest thing in the world? No, Tom Brady and Drew Brees' arm is good to sort of average. So listen, you don't need to have a rocket arm to succeed at the next level. You need to be able to read defenses, anticipate, and throw at accuracy. That's some of the biggest things that you need to do at the next level. And Kedon Slovis, he checks off those boxes. And also, Kedon Slovis doesn't get enough credit for how mobile he is. Okay, now Kedon Slovis isn't going to be a quarterback that rushes for a bunch of yards, but he knows how to buy time in the pocket. He's very good at escaping pressure. He's very good at keeping his eyes down the field, and he can run for your occasional first down when need be. He has the mobility to make off-platform throws, and that's so key in today's NFL because you look at the Aaron Rodgers of the world, the Russell Wilsons of the world. You look at the Patrick Mahomes of the world. You look at the Deshaun Watsons, the Kyler Murrays of the world. These guys are able to extend plays with their legs, keep their eyes down the field, and throw the ball off platform and with a messy pocket. Unless you have a cannon for an arm or you're deadly accurate, there's not very many spots for you if you're just a drop back, pocket passer. And Kedon Slovis, he's definitely a guy that's mobile enough to, move the pocket, run some bootlegs, run some read options occasionally. He's a good enough athlete to do those things. Your playbook is wide open with Kedon Slovis. And listen, I think that Kedon Slovis playing for the University of Southern California long term is really going to help him at the next level in the NFL. The reason why I say that is because this USC roster is pretty average. He bails them out a lot. And he's had to deal with a lot of messy pockets. He's had to deal with wide receivers dropping passes. He's had to overcome a lot of adversity in college. Kedon Slovis is getting a little taste of what the NFL is like. Because in the NFL, you have to deal with a lot of messy pockets. If you're a top 5 or top 10 pick, you're probably going to a bad team with a bad roster. And early on, you are probably going to have to elevate the troops around you. I think Kedon Slovis is learning the hard way in college right now, and that will make his transition to the NFL a lot easier. So that is how I feel about current USC starting quarterback Kedon Slovis. He's obviously not going to be coming out this year, but he probably will be coming out next year. He definitely has a chance to be a great franchise quarterback one day. And listen, he's already pretty polished for being a 19-year-old true sophomore. Him coming back next year to really fine-tune his skills once and for all in his final third season probably at USC, that's going to definitely benefit him at the next level. So I think Kedon Slovis is a very good quarterback. He's definitely, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the Pac-12 right now. And he definitely, in my opinion, has a chance of a bright future at the NFL level once his name is called in the NFL draft at some point in the near future. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God-blessed day, and I'm out.